Hello, this is Megan from Art Garden Oracle. I am going to do the real video for this hashtag that I started kind of haphazardly. Unfortunately, I did a huge tarot and oracle cleanup, and I was looking for some oracle decks to pair with some tarot that I was having a hard time kind of creating my own associations with. And I was like, I've really been enjoying the practice of pairing oracle and tarot together. You know, it's fun, it's beautiful, it can add a lot of clarity, obviously. But for some decks that I was just kind of wanting to use more, but maybe struggling with for one reason or another, I found that pairing two decks together was really helping me use a lot of decks more often. So I was all excited and I went crazy and showed like every pair I came up with in my whole collection cleanup, and kind of haphazardly started this tag, of course, like right before my dad went into the hospital for heart surgery, and then like abandoned it. And my dad's fine. And big sigh of relief, but I just got back to YouTube, and Danny Mystic, I saw, responded to my hashtag. She's the only one I see that tagged me. There might be others, and I'm so thankful and appreciative. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do like an organized, actual, real video if people do respond to this. So thank you if you want to participate. I'm so excited. If you're just here to look, that's awesome too. My hashtag that I came up with when I shared 55 pairs was your top 10 deck pairs. So 10 decks that you either love using together, you're really excited using together, helped solve a problem for you. It can be less than 10 for sure. But I thought it was a great tool not only to like show people new decks or show people your favorite decks, but also to help solve some of these deck problems that I feel like some of us have, rather than just like perpetuating, hey, go buy a bunch of decks. I feel like it's a great opportunity to, yeah, maybe like use some of the decks you have more by seeing how other people pair them. It made me excited to use certain decks, so hopefully it does so for you. So this is 10 actual decks, and what I'm going to do at the end of the video, which I think is a great idea for others to do if you so desire as well, is show I just have 3 decks that I would like to use more, but I still haven't found a good pairing with. And if any of you have ideas for pairs, please share in the comments, because that would be super helpful for me. They're decks I want to use more. And I like being able to use 2 decks just to use more decks more often for a reading. So without further ado, I'm going to start. This is one of my oldest, no, this is my second oldest. I'll show you my oldest next. Deck pairings, and this is, oh my gosh, that's so funny. So this is one of my favorite oracles of all time. It would certainly be on my top 10 indie deck. Yeah, if I could only have 10 indie decks, this would be on it. It's the Southern Gothic Oracle by Stacy Ng, I think. Yeah, Stacy Williams Ng. And I'm from the South originally. I don't still live in the South. I live in the Inland Northwest. But I love this deck. I just find it beautiful. It speaks to me. It connects me to my roots when I'm feeling homesick. It's just such a lovely deck. And I feel like it would be wonderful for anyone, even if you're not from the South. I feel like it's just a really beautiful, easy deck to connect to. And I'm showing it right here with the Uncommon Tarot, which is so bizarre. I do often use it with this, and I'll just show a couple of pictures. I mean, it's a gorgeous deck. It's one of my favorite, kind of goes with so many different types of decks tarot, but it's not what I wanted to show on this video, and I can't believe I just popped it down here. They're kind of in a stack together. So what I actually wanted to show that I pair this most often with is the Hoodoo Tarot, which I've mentioned long ago. It's a mass market deck by Tiana Lee McQuiller. It's a big book. Sorry, I have like a tiny window to fit these things in to make sure you can see everything really well. But I love this deck. It's mass market. This one's indie. I feel like, I've said it before, I feel like it's one of the most underrated, wonderful tarot decks. It's mostly this kind of sepia tone. The artist is Caitlin Foisey. And it has just a ton, I mean, you can see the back here. It's like Texas through Florida up to, you know, it gets blurry, like what people define as the South or Southern states. But it's a wonderful, wonderful tarot deck, and the guidebook is so great. It's really well written. And I really, for me, coming from the South with a ton of obviously historical, you know, challenges, embarrassments, a history of slavery, a history of really big struggle with civil rights and humanitarian issues. I love using the Hoodoo with this, oh my gosh, the name just totally spaced, like came out of my brain. But the Southern Gothic Oracle, they really like speak beautifully to the shadow work that I also want to do when I connect to my Southern roots. And it's just, yeah, two beautiful decks by two amazing deck creators. And Tiana Lee McQuiller has done a number of books on root work and hoodoo, and she does a beautiful, succinct job of talking about what that means, and kind of like intro level information going into this tarot deck. And it's just, they're such a great pair. They speak so wonderfully together. I really recommend looking at this deck if you haven't before. She has renamed the majors, which is really challenging sometimes at first, but her writing is so compelling and so wonderful that of all the decks who've like messed with the system, I remember her, like I mean, obviously the numbers are on here so you can easily remember High Priestess, but the stories stick with me so clearly that I don't fumble with the fact that she's renamed the majors at all. It's like the only deck I think I have where I've never had to go back to the book. I use her book all the time because I love it, but I've never had to go back to the book and be like, oh my gosh, what is courting, or, you know, what is Miss Ida? Her stories are wonderful and they really have stuck with me. So this is probably, I have 3 pairs that are just like, I don't think I've ever called anything a soul deck, but are probably the closest to soul decks that I have. And these ones, yeah, this pair runs deep for me. This is my first combo that I ever did. And this was actually my first oracle that I ever bought. Oh, I hope my camera didn't move. No. This is the first oracle I ever bought, and it was way before I knew about all the decks that existed in the world. Because to this day, I'm just like, how did I end up with this oracle? It's kind of a bizarre oracle, and people have responded like similarly. So I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Oh my gosh. Nicoletta just fell all over the floor. So I'll pick up a few here in a second. But yeah, this is the Colette Baron Reed. I think it's one of her really early ones, because her newer ones definitely haven't appealed to me. I did kind of edge mine in rainbows for some reason after I chopped the border. So these had a really thick white border that I didn't love. I like them a lot more without the border around it. But the artwork is just kind of bizarre. It's like this, you know, I think a lot of her artwork is some sort of combo of this kind of photo collage with some other kind of stuff going on. I don't even know how to describe this artwork. And every card has this oracle face in it somewhere that kind of hides, but you can find it in every image. So it's just kind of not my aesthetic, not my typical oracle deck in any way, but I've used it for such a long time now that like I'm not sure I'd ever get rid of it. And it reads really, really well. For me, I don't know if that's like a time thing, but it always seems to surprise me with like how kind of creepy on point it is about whatever I'm going through, or the heart at the question I'm asking. Like, I've never pulled this card in probably 15 years of having this deck, but it's so bizarre to have. I love cats, you know, but just like this pink card with a cat reaching out to a ballerina. It's a bizarre oracle deck. And I've used it a ton, and I always really find the readings profound. And when I read for other people, the people never make a comment about the artwork. They're just like, wow, that was a really crazy reading. But for me personally, I found that I was using it a lot for other people, but I didn't use it a lot just because I have so many decks that I like better in terms of artwork, even though this one reads really well. So I wasn't using it personally a whole lot. And then I got the Nicoletta Ciccoli mini, which I love the mini. I always love a small deck for storage purposes, and I have smaller hands, and sometimes I like to lay out a lot of cards, so it works better. And they read really, really well together. And there's something about the artwork, with the exception of a few cards, like that ballerina card. Sometimes the artwork doesn't jive super well together, but sometimes it does. And, you know, the Nicoletta Ciccoli has that kind of bizarre artwork, but I find it, like so many others, just really beautiful, not like just weird. And even where it's not beautiful, where it's, you know, a little bit more disturbing, I still find it really profound. So yeah, this pairing has made me use Wisdom of the Oracle a lot more frequently. And something about the artwork really works for me together, and they read really, really well together. It was a reminder of how well the Clever and Read Oracle does work for me. But yeah, the Nicoletta Ciccoli really adds a depth to it that I really appreciate. And yeah, both kind of has that child work, inner child, shadow. Especially, this definitely brings a more shadowy side to the Oracle, which I appreciate. Time for a nap with the Devil. Yeah, it's great. I love this deck combination. So that's the Lo Scarabeo mini Nicoletta Ciccoli with Wisdom of the Oracle from Clever and Read. A very trimmed, very old, very glossy Wisdom of the Oracle. But I cannot lie, it is one of my favorite combinations, just because it kind of helped me use a deck that's been with me for a really long time, and helped me appreciate it again. Okay, number 3. This is a recent find. I did share this in my wild video that was, yeah, like close to every deck I own. But this is one of my favorites that came out of my trying to find solution. So this was a brand new deck to me. This is an older oracle. I've had it for a while, the Old Ways Magic Oracle by Naomi Cornock. Olivia Rose is an amazing artist, and she just did this incredible mass market tarot deck, the Mind's Eye Tarot. She has a oracle on Etsy. I don't know if it's still in print. She might have taken a break while she was creating the tarot deck, but I believe the oracle is the Heart's Eye Oracle, because this is Mind's Eye Tarot. But I love this oracle, but I haven't used it in a really long time. It's definitely has kind of fall winter vibes for me, and Olivia's deck does too. So it's kind of getting into the right time to use them together. But I just love both artists so much. I find them gorgeous. And so not only is it just like a complete pleasure for me to look at these two together, and I want to use both of them a lot just to enjoy the artwork, but they really read beautifully together too. And yeah, they both have this kind of magical fae imagery that I feel like is really beautiful together. They're both just kind of really peaceful for me to work with. This feels very much like a healing, or I have used this historically very much as a healing deck for myself. Going through, dealing with a lot of chronic illness and a lot of challenges over the last handful of years. So yeah, it's nice to, I've never used tarot with it. And something, thankfully I think I just like laid the Mind's Eye tarot box next to this one, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to see those next to each other. And yeah, they are beautiful, and of course the death card comes up next to each other. They're so beautiful, so beautiful. And yeah, just really I don't know how to describe their energy together. It's just really grounding. Yeah. Knowledge and the devil. Just about everything I've pulled using these together has worked in such a lovely way. So that is Mind's Eye. That's indie, or sorry, Old Ways Magic is an indie. I got this 2 years ago maybe, so I have not been on their website in a really long time to check if they're still sending it out. I believe it was their only deck that they've created. If that's not true, I will be checking that out soon. This Olivia Rose, like I said, her Oracle has been on Etsy for a really long time, and it was in my cart forever. And I just discovered, I had no idea this tarot was coming out mass market, and I luckily saw it and immediately bought it from my I know I have no tarot budget control, and so I have like a impulse budget for my tarot decks, and that's where she came from. But gorgeous deck, and I love it, and I'm so happy that everyone in tarot world is showing that deck right now, and seems to be in love with it also. Okay, I'm going to try and speed up because I did want this to be a shorter video, and it seems like no matter what I do, I can't stop myself from talking about decks, especially when it's something I've used a lot. So this is one I use frequently. I haven't used it in a while, and so this is a good reminder. It's always been... I think it's true that I've always used these together. I got them about the same time, kind of accidentally. And visually, I wouldn't necessarily think they would go together, but the way they read has been incredible using them together. So this is Medicine Cards. It's been around for a long time. Mine came with an awesome hardbound book. I assume they all do. By Jamie Sams and David Carson. And then the Vision Quest Tarot, Guy and Sylvie Winter and Joe Doze. So I use these all the time together. I usually pull multiple cards for each medicine card. Did I show the backs? The backs, maybe don't go together. And yeah, this is probably my one that visually maybe goes together the least, but reads so beautifully, so beautifully with each other. And I really didn't think I would want the medicine cards for the longest time. I kept seeing them on other people's channels, or I just had a lot of people who have read tarot for a long time in my life who have always had this deck, and I just never honestly spent any time with it. And the second I kind of got it thinking, oh, it's still maybe not going to make sense for me. And from the very first reading, I don't think any reading has ever blown me away as much as the first time I used these medicine cards. And I've continued to use them for myself and for others. And it always seems to be just the most meaningful, on point reading every time. So it's a beautiful combo. These really, I definitely feel like I could use the medicine cards just by themselves, but the tarot deck has been a great addition. And I really love, you know, even though, I mean, I've come to love this artwork, I didn't at first, but this artwork I did love right away. It's a little pippish, but it's like obviously very illustrated, beautiful pips that still bring a lot of meaning into every card. And yeah, it just has this like 90s, I don't know, what is it, 90s? Maybe early 2000s, I'm not sure. Aesthetic to me that I really love a lot. So yeah, that is one of my favorite combinations that I use. I wouldn't say, even though I have used it for others, I've really only used it for like some of my very best friends in the world. It would be hard for me. It just feels like a very personal deck, a very personal combo. It would be hard for me to use with like everyone. I feel like it's something that is, I keep kind of special in terms of using it for myself or just for kind of a certain type of reading, or like using with a very, very good friend. So that's the Vision Quest Tarot and medicine cards. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So number 5 is, which one am I going to do? I've mentioned this in a couple of videos, so I think I can show this one quickly because I've talked about it a lot of other places. This is one of my favorite just like happy combos. So Animal Apothecary by Cara Elizabeth and the Pasta Tarot by two men who every time I show this deck, I can't seem to find their names. I know they're partners, but the guidebook for this one is really, this is it. Oh, look, it's right there. Bob Truglia and Jeff Petriello. Artwork by Lindsay Mound. These are both mass market. Pasta Tarot is just one of my like happy decks. It's a pretty close RWS clone, but I just find it delightful. Can I show the backs? Delightful in all the ways. So again, maybe something that doesn't quite aesthetically look like it makes sense at first, but more often than not, when I'm actually doing a reading with these two together, I end up really liking the aesthetics, and they, meaning-wise, have just really worked together so well. And even though Cara Elizabeth's deck looks very lighthearted, this is one of my favorite Hanged Man cards ever. Just like pasta, the spaghetti thrown on the wall. It's just very like, brings me back to my childhood, because that was like one of my first cooking lessons was was doing that with spaghetti to see if it was done. Cara Elizabeth's deck is very serious, even though it looks very lighthearted and some of the animals make it look, you know, kind of sweet. It's very, it's pretty, I find it to be very profound and really deep. And again, it's one of those, I mean, I would say if they're one of my favorite deck combos, and it's something I've used, you know, more than a handful of times, one of the reasons is because it blows me away with how accurately it answers my question, or gets underneath the question and it's like, that's not what you were really asking. You are what you think with the Lovers. Yeah, so Carl Elizabeth's deck has this lighthearted aesthetic to it, but it really brings, because I kind of feel like this is the summer, fun, happy tarot deck that I often use this time of year that is close to ending. Carl Elizabeth's deck really brings a grounding to it that I appreciate very much. Sorry, I got distracted and I was like, ooh, Tame and Attain is a great pairing with the world. Maybe not on first glance, but in my head, just like getting used to the cycles of life and just like accepting that everything turns and keeps turning. Maybe Keep Trying was the better pair with that world card. Anyway, yeah, it brings a soulfulness to this deck, or maybe it brings out the soulfulness in this deck because it's very much here. So anyway, these make me happy, and these can tell me hard things. The messages, if you go to the guidebook, actually do read very gently. But yeah, just because it has this cheerful presentation, I can really go to this when I need a gentle answer, even if it still gives me a lot of truth. So I love this combination a lot. Minuta are discs, so they do play with the suits, and I often forget them, but I finally got them down at this point. So this is 9 of discs and Metamorphosis. It's an interesting combo. Again, disc, Queen of discs, Face Your Fear. Anyway, Sacred Boundaries, which this is the Knight of discs, which is a good combo. But yeah, just with the imagery too of kind of this solo journey deep into nature. Ripiena is cups, and she reminds me of Claire Danes in Romeo and Juliet. I can't imagine what else that's meant to show. I love this Chariot card, which is great with It's in You. So yeah, just a fun combo. And I would say that's, yeah, if I had to make a top 5 grouping, this group would be in there for sure. Maybe not top 3, but definitely it would still be in top 5 for sure. Tarot of Divine, it's funny, I've been seeing this one on TarotTube again. I feel like I never really saw it, but people have been talking about it lately, which makes me happy because I've always loved it. It was probably one of the first 5 tarot decks after I started on Mother Peace Tarot and got Rider-Waite and studied Rider-Waite for a really long time. So it was probably one of the first tarot decks I bought after those 2. And another thing that's weird is like a lot of my inner child decks are here on my top 10 pairs, which I wouldn't have expected. But I kind of call it my like Disney deck, even though Disney is loaded kind of thing these days. But yeah, just that childhood like cartoon, princess cartoons and other non-princess things. I don't know. That's stuck in my head forever. And then this tarot, these are both mass market again. Wisdom from the Epics of Hind by Pankuri Agrawal, artwork by Rahul Das. This deck is so beautiful, and it was one that I wanted to use for so long, and I was just like, I can't figure out how to pair this, because actually the guidebook for this one is so great. I do not need something to pair with this by any means. I have no problem using this guy. I use them both on their own all the time. But I really like them together, and it took me a while to finally put them together, and when I did the reading, I cried. I think it was in my mid-year tarot tag, I think, these two, because I've used them I don't know how many times now, and they often will make me cry when I use them together. These stories are so beautiful. I'll show you quickly the guidebook. And I just find the guidebook to be so well done. It's relatively short, with a little bit about the story of the epic, which I found, I mentioned this in another video, my yoga teacher always shared. She was an amazing storyteller. But it's really hard to find a lot of these epics told, in a succinct place that aren't, the ancient kind of translations of a lot of these stories. That's really like a commitment. So I love this to like hear these stories again in a oracle context, because they've done an amazing job with questions to ask yourself, actions to take, a short message. I just find this guidebook to be really succinct and really, really well done. And I love the stories. I love these religious stories. I find them all so beautiful and so profound. And yeah, so it's just like bonus, 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 like a great story, where I get to hear these stories retold. And I get the journaling prompts and just like a really profound deep dive into things too. The Tarot of the Divine has a really succinct guidebook, but you don't get the stories. I also love the stories in this deck, in Yoshi's deck. So I got the accompanying book, Beneath the Moon, which is a thicker guy separately. It still is just one page. I know this book is really big and I'm really close. I apologize. It's still just one page per story. So for some reason I still was wanting more, but it helps a ton to get a lot more context from these cards. So I do recommend that. But I find them beautiful together. These backs, the Wisdom from the Epics of Hind, I really enjoy, even though they're not reversible. But yeah, I love these decks together. So that is definitely top 10 combos. And yeah, also just like 2 mass market decks in and of themselves that I absolutely love. I think that's 7 without like wasting time, too much time counting. So 8, 9, it might be 6. This is one I did show. This was this is what prompted like this whole tag and this whole like deck organization. So this is Giannis Yass's Stunning Tarot. I love this deck. I love the size of it, even though I can't shuffle it. Or Riff will shuffle it anyway. I can still shuffle it. Yeah, this is her 3rd edition. No, 4th edition. I love it. I find it beautiful. I was so excited to get it. I didn't pre-order it or back it. I wasn't sure. I just happened to get one of the extras she made. But I was struggling to find my own associations with it. I have since learned that there is a guidebook out there that a couple people have mentioned, and I'm hoping they'll still send it to me. But I wasn't able to find it myself. So what I did was I found Marcella Kroll's Sacred Symbols Oracle deck to be gorgeous with it. And when I started using them together, it totally got me over the hump of bringing the Stunning Tarot out more often to use on the regular, just because I could start to make a lot of my own associations with some of the cards that I was struggling to have, kind of like pull the meaning out of the card. Because I don't know a ton about ancient Egyptian civilization, religious stories. And so a lot of this symbolism just wasn't clicking with me, which is so bizarre because the disc suit is usually the one I most easily connect with. And then the wand suit, which is like the, witchy stuff suit, I feel like I'm really well versed in, and I still was struggling to kind of pull together the meanings, in my reading. So I found that pulling in the Sacred Symbols Oracle deck, every single time I've used these together now, I don't even think twice about it, and I get the message right away, and I love how they look together. The Stunning Tarot is so beautiful, and it, I don't feel like it would be an easy pair, and I wouldn't want to use it with something that really detracted from its beauty or clash with its beauty. So yeah, these I feel like work wonderfully together. And there is so much symbology in the Yellowseals and the Stunning Tarot. So yeah, you know, I've found several times where the Sacred Symbols deck will pull out something that just make the symbol speak a lot louder to me from the Stunning Tarot image too. So that is a very recent, very like super happy with it pairing. This next one, which I think is 8, I think is 8, maybe 7. I'm going to count, and I'll just have to do a little edit in here, even though I was trying not to. I originally showed this with a different deck of mine, which I still love to use it with. It was a tiny little, I can't find the deck itself now, even though I pulled it out, but this was something I found on Etsy a long time ago by Susanna Tavares, Inner Child Love. And it's a great little oracle deck with really sweet little simple messages that my kids also like to use a lot. So I was using this together when I first got Playful Heart Tarot, which is relatively recent. Her most recent reprint of it is when I got Playful Heart. But it has been my screensaver for a really long time. It's been something, like I follow her on Instagram. I've worked with the images for a really long time, even though I just got the deck. But after I filmed my video showing it with the Inner Child Love, I was seeing this a lot on YouTube, and it's a wonderful little oracle, the Creative Consciousness Healing Oracle by Johanna Wright. Mass market, relatively new release deck. And I've already said I really use tarot and oracle a ton for body healing work, but also all of the psychological and emotional challenge that goes with chronic illness and chronic pain. So healing is a really big theme, and inner child work is a really big theme with all of my decks. So I love this Creative Consciousness Oracle, and I love these guys together. I started using them. I used them a couple of times when I first got the Playful Heart in, but I've really been using them a lot in the last week because it's just been a really hard week for me. And they're great together. They're so gentle, so uplifting. I think I pulled the death card from Playful Heart for the first time, and I can't remember. It might be, no. Oh shoot, I can't remember what Creative Consciousness card I got with it, but yeah, it's just so gentle. They're so gentle and lovely together. And I don't know why I didn't think of them aesthetically, but like aesthetically they're super sweet too. So great for healing work, inner child work. I was just so tickled with those together. So another very new but instant favorite, very happy, very good reading deck combo. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to trust that what I pulled out was 10. When I go back and edit, if I overdid it, I will take something out. So I will promise that. This one I've shown before too, but it's a pretty long-standing favorite combo of mine. So I do have the Apparition Tarot. I haven't honestly used them together. I know they'll be great together, but I haven't done it yet. I really like the Iris Oracle so much, and I got Fholarcos quite a while ago by Carmen Sorrenti. A really long time ago, I told this story about how there is a Valley Myers card in this deck that I first saw from another Tarot Tubers video, and I bought it right on the spot because I love Valley Myers. I read her partner's memoir that he wrote for her, last winter, I guess now. But beyond just the Valley Myers reference and Carmen's work, I love both of these so much. I love the Fholarcos Tarot. It's so quirky with its like finished oil paintings in the major arcana. It's gray finished oil paintings in the court cards, and then these like sketchbook almost pieces that seem to be colored pencil, but it just feels right out of a sketchbook. And it's this that really I feel like ties into the iris aesthetic. You know, I've heard a lot of people say iris kind of is a butt kicker, and I totally can see that. I don't know if Pholarcos, because Pholarcos can be kind of a mystery. I feel like it's a mystery deck. It can be shadowy, but it's just very much like in a similar way that Mary L is for me, just like really goes into the shadow side of consciousness, and not the shadow side, sorry, the mystery side of consciousness and like life experience and all of that. So I wouldn't call it gentle per se, but I feel like these two together, I haven't had an experience where I felt like, whoa, I need to put iris away for a while because of that. And I feel like some people have mentioned that experience with iris, that it can be kind of a butt kicker sometimes. But yeah, I find these read really well together and are pretty gentle. And yeah, it may not make aesthetic sense in some places, but to me, it really works out. So that's one of my long-term favorites. And someday I'll use iris with apparition too, or I think those are the only two Spirit Speak decks I have. I don't think I said that, sorry. Iris is Spirit Speak, and Fholarcos is from Arnell's art. And these are the awesome backs. I think I first fell in love with the backs, and then I found out about the Valley Myers card and was sold. So yeah, Fholarcos was one of my first indie decks for sure. Okay, so that should be 9, I'm pretty sure. And then 10 is going to be I've had these decks for a while, but it was a relatively new pairing that I found when I was cleaning things out. Findhorn Spirit Oracle cards by Swan Treasure. These I have not seen too often in videos. They're quirky again. So many of these are not my typical style, which is really bizarre, but I really like all of these decks a lot. Circle of Life Tarot this was one of my solutions pairings. So this was a deck, I really like the aesthetics of it, but I wasn't using, and I knew going into fall that I wanted to use it more often. So this was one of my solutions because I also haven't used Findhorn very often, and I wanted to use it a lot more. So both have a lot of Fae energy to them. And so I think, yeah, maybe just energetically felt like a good pairing. But even though the artwork's really different, I feel like, yeah, this is just abstract enough that it kind of works with the artwork of the Circle of Life Tarot. I mentioned my first tarot deck ever was the Mother Peace Tarot, so I'm used to working with circle decks. I know some people have complained about that with this deck, but I haven't used reversals very often since I started working with rectangle decks. So it'll be interesting to work with a circle deck again, and see, I guess, yeah, I mean, I imagine I'll bring just kind of naturally reversals back into it, but yeah, these are both mass market too, but kind of, I think I'm excited about them because I just haven't seen a lot of people work with them very much. And yeah, I'm just excited to get to know them. So even though this is like top 10, I haven't used them yet. I mentioned in my other video, I'm trying to like I'm trying to like make summer last as long as possible, because I had a really rough winter last year and I'm not super excited about winter coming back. So I haven't started using these, but it's any minute now. My initial flip throughs, I'm excited to use them together and to get to know them. So, but yeah, I have used them individually. I don't know if I said that or not. So I think they're going to work really well together from my experiences so far. But visually it's I'm super excited about it. And because it's solving, yeah, just that like, love the decks, but haven't been using them as much as I wanted to. And going into winter, it just feels like probably one of my most excited discoveries after my Stunning Tarot solve. That was kind of one that was getting to me over the summer, where I was like, gosh, I need something. I want to use Stunning Tarot a lot more, but I have this hiccup, and yeah, deck pairs really helped me solve it. So now I'm excited to apply that here. So that's my most excited about to work with it combo. All right, that should make 10. I will edit out if not. And then my last little bits to this video are hoping that you will help me solve 3 quick problems. I'm not going to show the decks, but I am curious. This one's just curious. I'm curious what you use soul cards with, if anything, or if you use them mostly just on their own. This is soul cards 1, I believe. Oh, yeah. So if you use soul cards, like, what are you using them with? I'm curious to see. My second question, this is one going into the fall that I want to use so much. I love this deck. I love the artwork. Do you see how I like lie every time? I'm like, I'm not going to show you, and then I pull it out. I love this artwork. I love the backs. I have used it, I think I've used it just by itself quite a bit. It's a relatively new deck to me. I think I got it right before summer and then put it away because I was like, this feels more fall. But I, for the life of me, I do struggle with some of the card, or some of the artwork. The guidebook's pretty good, so I can like get through it. But I would love an oracle because I just feel like I'll start to kind of get something about using another deck just really helps me get past not being able to read intuitively or not being able to unlock the artwork. So if you have any suggestions for Tarot of the Sweet Twilight or what you use it with, I should say this is a good opportunity for me to say this is not like, it does not have to be tarot with oracle deck for this tag by any means. It can be tarot and tarot, oracle and oracle, any deck combo, deck pairs. It does not have to be oracle. And so same goes for please help me pair these. And my last one is the Ancestral Path Tarot. Another one that I know there's a guidebook out there. I don't have it. I feel like the guidebook that comes, or I should not say guidebook, the little white book that comes with this really leaves me wanting more. It's a beautiful deck. I love her artwork. I know this is her only mass market deck that I know of. I know her indie printed versions come with just extensive guidebooks. So again, if this is something that a guidebook exists out there and you recommend I get the guidebook to add to it, or if you have either a tarot or oracle combo that you use with this guy, I would love to know, because I want to work with it. I find it so beautiful. I love her artwork. But yeah, I just would love, I feel like I just need something else to like get my work with it going. So any of your suggestions on any of those would be so appreciated. I would love you to participate in this tag. Yeah, it's just one that I feel like, thankfully for me, because I don't have any, you know, I'm really at the end of my budget and the end of the year for tarot. I'm excited because it's not so much like I'm going to go out and buy a bunch of tarot, but it's really like finding solutions for me being able to use the tarot that I do have more often and more successfully. So I would love your participation. I would love your comments of anything, any other pairs that you use with any of these decks I've shown. I would so love to hear that and see it. So thank you so much to Danny for doing this tag already, and I will do my best to keep up with it, and thank you all individually if you participate. And I'm so excited to see what you have to say. All right, I hope you're well. Take care, and I will see you on the other side. Bye.